Yeah, so we're playing a, I guess, near final build of Diablo 4, which comes out in about a week, right? June 1st is early access.
Full release is the 6th. Because of course they have to do the 6-6 thing.
Yes.
Of course.
I think Diablo 2 came out on that too, right? If I remember correctly. I'm fairly certain.
It was definitely summer of 2000.
Yeah, I feel like it was like very similar. But yeah, we got early access to check it out and give some impressions. And so Jason and myself and Mike and Locke have been playing a bit, some more than others. I played actually all of the betas and the server. What do they call it?
The server slam.
The server slam. So I've played all of the characters.
Sounds like a wrestling pay-per-view.
Server slam.
Yeah, it does sound like a wrestling thing.
Sunday.
So Locke, you're playing Sorcerer, Mike's a Necro, Jason's the Druid, and I'm going Barbarian here right now. The Barb.
I've got good old Bone Spear and Corpse Explosion.
Yes.
Because it's not a Necro unless you do those things.
I know this is in the console versions of Diablo 3, but I'm liking the dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm liking the dodge a lot.
I don't have any dungeons on my map.
By the time we're done mauling stuff here, I'm going to have multiple skill points.
Many skill points.
I know it's
skills.
kind of a given, but I'm just like, the game's so pretty to me. I haven't touched the game. Unlike Nick, I saw the first trailer and then I peaced out. Not because I care, but just that's my life. So yeah, just like seeing the world, I'm just in love with it.
It can be very good looking and it can be very gross looking.
Like, look at how cruddy it is.
Yeah, there's some.
I love this.
There's some gooey things.
Oh, that's just my Corpse Explosion on the ground, sorry.
Give me the muck. Give me the muck.
Alright, Locke, you're standing in some muck that I made.
Yeah, I love it. I will take your muck. Oh, that guy explodes. Okay, that's good to know.
Titan bubble.
Ooh, I like this bubble.
You're invulnerable when you're in it.
It's the time slow bubble that sorcerers had or wizards had in Diablo 3, I think, right?
No, it's an ability my guy has. It randomly spawns for 7.5 seconds.
Cool.
I took the perk for Fireball where the longer distance I cast it, so I'm just trying to do like Hail Mary fireballs. It does more damage the further away.
Downtown!
Yeah, exactly.
He's heating up.
Yeah. Is this instanced?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
All looted instance.
Everyone check your inventory.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Yep.
It looks cool.
It looks so good. The dress, you guys, the fashion, like, come on.
This game does have extremely good fashion.
Yeah.
I like the design of the armor sets.
So yeah, we can show off some of the overworld, some of the dungeons. We can't show off any of the story stuff, but there's some.
I'm gonna town portal.
If you enjoyed Diablo 3, but thought, man, why isn't it more grim dark? I have good news for you about Diablo 4.
I'm into it. You know what? I've been painting a lot of miniatures in the grimdark style.
I think the biggest some of the biggest improvements. The skill tree system is really cool.
It's awesome.
It's super customizable. Awesome. Almost every branch of the thing will have little modifiers that let you tweak things, and like you can only take one branch of those modifiers when you do it, so you can really like fine tune your builds
Y'all can warp to me now. Yeah, so there's a wardrobe closet in the main town where you can change
Yes.
your fashion and
Uh-huh.
save fashion. I tell you what, I wish it had though was a way for you to save your builds for that. Because
Yeah.
there is not at the moment that I can see anything that's like, okay, here's my gear and here's my setup for this. And now I want to try something else, but I don't want to have to try and remember all the skill points I put into stuff and what all
Right.
I had on here and there. So
They
I
are
really
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
They are somewhat on record as saying they want you to kind of stick with a character.
That's fair.
So,
I mean, yeah,
like-
sticking with
like
the
Mark
characters.
Ferguson actually came out and said, like, we're gonna, like, our respec cost is going to be high. It's not going to be oppressive, but it's going to be a decision you have to make, not a I'm swapping loadouts for every possible eventuality like Diablo 3 turned into. Like, they are specifically not wanting that.
Yeah, and I'm
What
fine
is
with that.
weird about that, and here's my major issue with the game so far. There are difficulty spikes, which are fine, but the difficulty spikes are such that if you do not have a right build, you have to change your build. And so it's not like you can go into a situation with any build, like I want to craft it in this way and counter this way. And this is more of a problem, I would say, probably for the melee classes than it would be for perhaps the ranged classes. But it's like you encounter these hard things where it's like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to get wrecked here over and over again. And hey, if I change my build up, now this is a lot easier, or it's, you know, it's doable now compared to how it was before. So I understand their philosophy, but their game design does not support that.
Well, the class balance between ranged and melee has been of some spirited debate in all states of the
Sure,
game.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the ranged is like cakewalking through the game, and melee just gets wrecked by stuff because of the incoming damage.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I understand that, like, hey, make a choice and stick with it, but like, I don't know, like I kind of feel like rather than it be okay, change it up for whatever situation, like allow people to have the creative freedom to play with things, right, and to mess around with stuff and find something that works best for them. Maybe it's not optimal DPS or whatever, but like, hey, if it's fun and they're doing good stuff with it, that should be able to work, as opposed to that feeling of like, well, geez, I'm gonna like I can't see any other way past here unless I am doing X, Y, Z.
Or I think they would probably point to the world tier system as a way to, like, ease the blow of something if you're having a hard time. Which I don't think is necessarily a great thing, but
Yeah.
but it's like, yeah, if you're on world tier 2 and everything's wrecking you, drop it to tier 1, get past where you are, level up, etc.
Well, it's like we were saying, Jason and I were kind of talking before, earlier on the stream, but saying that, you know, any of these games, like, because they have a life. I mean, what, Diablo 3's been out 9 years or something like that? Like
11.
11? Jesus.
No.
So it's
10,
just
it's 10 or 11 at this point. I think it came out in 2013. So.
right. So the point is, though, that, like, whatever we're saying right now is only valid for right now. Right,
Yeah.
like the stuff changes so
Subject to
much.
change. I have no idea what's going to happen. Like, if there's going to be a patch day one that changes and balances things, you know. Yeah, it's just kind of current state as things are right now. It still feels like there's, at least for the melee classes, some tweaking to be done. Which, you know, they know. So
Yeah.
see what happens there. But it's also, so part of this is, as always, like the legendaries that you pick up have additional effects to them. And a lot of those legendaries then can change a build.
Totally. You can build around a legendary, right? Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was basically what Diablo 3 was.
right.
So-
you get this, you roll this thing, and then you go with that build.
I can't see how it's any different here so far. Like, just again, it goes back to, you know, like, I think it's great that, and I hope this does not change at all for the full game of like whatever the refund cost is, because right now, it's really not bad. It's just, a couple thousand gold or whatever. But like if they increase that as the game goes on, it's like, well, I just got this legendary that I now want to build around this, and I can't unless I go farm up a bunch of gold first.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think there's a balance. I definitely did not really in my 20s playing Diablo 2 all the time. I didn't really think too often about, man, I wish I could respec, right?
Yeah.
As also an adult on the wrong side of 40, I feel ya. So tell me something cool about your character class.
One of the spirit boons that you have there is like, here's a choice of some lucky hits that do different things. So like one of them is, hey, when you get a critical on a lucky hit, critical strikes have up to a 20% chance to reset the cooldowns of your companion skills. So works really well for building out that way. Things that, if I wanted to build into a tank or whatever, they have some stuff there too. So I do like the fact that they give you a lot of customization tools within this class, so you can really sort of build it out. For Nick's class, the Barbarian, I love the fact that the Barbarian just like has 20 weapons strapped to them at all time. And
and like your abilities use those weapons like as
That's
each
awesome.
slot. Yeah, each slot is a specialty with the weapon, whether it's the big hammer or the giant slashing two-handed weapon.
I love that.
And
Which is kinda cool.
It's like category of, so like heavy slashing and heavy blunt give you access to completely different things, right?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
They fill the same inventory slot.
Yep.
And you get expertise as you use those weapons, which give you additional benefits. And so the Barbarian's thing is like, normally it's, whatever weapon you're using, that's the benefit that you get. But the Barbarian's thing is, hey, you can now choose one of your focuses, one of your specialties, as something that you always have access to, regardless of what weapon you're using.
Nice. Yeah. So I know because I played the sorcerer in the last beta. Yeah, and for sorcerer, what it does is every single spell that you have access to, you can also create an enchanted version of, and assign that to yourself. So you could be like, I want a better fire. I want like a fire focus. So you like take fireball and enchant it and put it back on yourself, and now like your burning effects like have a radius and things like that. Which is neat. The Necro, interestingly enough, has I haven't unlocked that ability, but I have the Book of the Dead, where I choose what my summons are, and I can change the effects, or
Nice.
make it so that if instead of like raising a skeleton, I get a passive effect. It's like, oh, you can't raise skeletons, but now you do like a lot of damage to vulnerable creatures. This is very cool that I am stuck in this bone wall.
Tell me about the bone wall.
Tell me about this tomb
Looks like Isaac from Dead Space with his helmet there.
It looks like the collector from Darkest Dungeon.
Oh, hey, Darkest Dungeon.
Can I just say, I really like the, I don't know what effect causes it, but like when it goes dark and you kind of get blinded.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's cool.
Is it really cool when he's surrounded by it and you can't attack him because it prevents you from doing so?
Yes, it's still cool to me.
It's very cool to me because I am not a melee class.
Is it cool to you, Nick, as a fellow melee user?
Yeah, it's great. At least with the with the Barbarian, it's got a couple abilities to get out quick. Like I have the leap on, so like if I am kind of stuck and need to get out or move somewhere quick, using that is a good alternative to close range. And then I know he's got like a chains ability to pull enemies to him. I didn't play with that yet, but that looks like it might be a good way to close space.
But my curse slows them by 40%, and they deal 20% less damage. So that's cool.
And that's a dungeon.
I've unlocked an aspect.
Yeah, so initially for the dungeons, for a lot of them, you have aspects that you can basically craft your own legendaries. So if, they have them assigned by classes, so you can kind of, as you see dungeons on the world map, you can hover over them and you'll see, hey, this unlocks this aspect for this class, and here's what it does.
Cool.
And there's a enchanter in town that you can go to and say, like, here, put it in this item for me, thanks. And so then you turn some rare object that you have into a legendary,
As someone who plays an awful lot of this style of action RPG,
These games, yeah.
I am mostly satisfied. I think the skill tree is actually needlessly restrictive, and I don't think the upgrades are necessarily exciting. I feel like a lot of the good shit in this game is going to come from legendaries and mixing and matching your aspects. But the builds themselves, just purely from the skill tree, don't seem particularly interesting to me, because it's in a tree form, but it's basically just the system from Diablo 3 represented in this way and made a bit more permanent, right?
Right.
Because you have basic, so you have your basic your generators, right? Everybody's got 4 generators to choose from. Well, so did Diablo 3, and you attached runes to those to change their effect. And in this, you get the little split upgrades off of every ability. And so each major node of this skill tree is just Diablo 3's category system put together. And once you get past like the 6 main categories, then everything becomes passives or ultimates, right? Which will like define the top level.
Impressive.
Like your top level build. But I think like the other aspects of customization are going to be way more important to how builds shake out in this game.
Yeah.
Because I play a lot of Path of Exile, and I'm not going to suggest that other people play Path of Exile unless they are really wanting to go that far into it. But that game is like the ultimate theorycraft, and there is nothing that, like, without going as hard into it, like, nothing else compares, right?
Yeah.
Just because you dictate literally everything about what your character does in every aspect, and Blizzard's philosophy is we will hold your hand and curate your experience and leave kind of the edges of it up to you.
Sure.
So it's like differences in philosophy, but Diablo 3 had very underwhelming skills. This is kind of the same. Like, the things you do are very cool, but
The actual animations and everything, yeah.
But it's like, oh, I'm putting skill points into bone splinters, and the upgrade to it is it does 1 more damage. That's not great. Why am I putting
a ton of difference?
So it is kind of like, okay, what are my 4 core abilities? I'm going to dump 5 points into the base version of that, and then upgrade everything else, and then build around some legendaries. And kind of settle there for a while. But I think with regards to like what's going on in this game, I think they really need to sort their shit out with melee versus ranged, because it, like, I played everything that was in the first beta, and I didn't like Rogue as a melee, but Rogue as an archer was fine. Sorcerer, I was basically just steamrolling everything, and then my Barbarian, even when I got nice items on it, it's just like, yeah, I'm just, everything's a freaking sponge, and I'm spending most of my time like trying to get distance so I can heal, because the incoming damage is too high. So unless there's a lot of mitigation that you'll be able to put into them, like maybe there's just a hump you have to get over and then the problem goes away because you have access to more shielding or like damage reduction, the ability to break crowd control and all that, like you're just gonna die a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, like, my current solution to it is I have an ability that just heals me and also at the same time gives me an attack speed increase, which I can spread to my companions. So I pop that. I pop in a companion ability that's the, you've seen it, it's the vine thing that roots everything in place and does damage over time. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you know, like I can crowd control everything, but that's it. If like I went straight melee with Nick earlier as going into werewolf form, and I had some healing on my attacks, not enough. Like it still was not enough to keep me like in a comfortably alive situation.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm over here, like, standing 30 feet away from everything, chucking spears, and my skeletons just tank everything for me.
Yeah.
And I don't really have to worry about damage. And the sorcerer was even more that, like, it is press button to explode 20 enemies at once and move on. I played a lot of Barbarian in Diablo 3, and like Barbarians were basically untouchable with certain builds. Like you would just kill everything in one hit and be like, if you did like an old Leap Quake build or something, you would just be infinitely like jumping, and when you're jumping, you can't take damage.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think some of the effects people are feeling about this are the power creep in Diablo 3 just got to absurd levels. I like the setting and the general feel of this. Like, not talking about the story or anything, but like this one has some of the feel of that, in that you're in a much larger single location that has a lot more to do before you're asked to like move on to other places. If that is dancing around story.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I mean, I like this. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I have some worries about class balance, but Blizzard will constantly tune that stuff, so I'm not terribly worried. And we also, like, every Diablo game had a bunch of shit wrong with it. Like, base Diablo 2 was actually not as well received as it could, but once Lord of Destruction came out, everyone's like, this is the greatest game of all time, because of what they changed. And Diablo 3 launched in a rough state with, you know, real money auction house and like all of the difficulty issues, and then they released Reaper of Souls, and all of a sudden that game became like a lot tighter. So, you know, it will be interesting to see what lessons they learn from the base version of this game. But I would imagine they're going to pivot on some stuff fairly quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I want to know is, what class is everyone going to pick for the full version?
Sorcerer. Like, I always play it. Like, that's always been my main in all of them, and I don't intend to change.
It's because you're a fucking nerd.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
In the best way possible. I don't know, I always like Necromancer because I'm a weirdo.
Okay. Jason?
Now I might have to stick with Druid if Locke's going to go with Necromancer.
If you want to play Necro, I'll play Druid. Here's the thing. I don't care. I like all of them equally.
I miss my Necromancer days in Diablo.
Then do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I've never like that's the one class I've never been really like married to in these like Necro in Diablo 2 was like canonically the best class if I remember, because it was just absurd.
How about you, Nick?
I'm gonna go rogue. I think I had started one of the betas with that and got her to 25 and really
sick.
enjoyed it. So I think I'm gonna go back to that.
Awesome.
Pretty happy with my player title, Magic Trash.
Yeah, where did you get that?
I went into my profile. Yeah, like if you go into your character and then hit profile, the giant red button on the top left, you can go edit it, and it allows you to do your thing. So things like Magic Trash or I don't know.
Your normal things like Magic Trash.
How about Lethal Alchemist?
Locke, are you okay if I'm Magic Rubbish?
Yes, please.
Oh,
I'm gonna be.
Look what I picked for mine.
Meticulous Rubbish. Wonderful.
I'm just gonna be the Pyro Coordinator, not the Pyromaniac, just Pyro Coordinator, because I like my Type A personality to just reflect my character. So.
Very good.
So.
Magic Rubbish is so good, dude. Meticulous Rubbish, love it. I'm gonna inspect Jason's guy here. I like how stout your Druid is.
Well, I am sure we will be back with actual streams, not just the video. There was probably going to be plenty of them on Co-Optimus. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely like June is man. June, it's Final Fantasy 16. It comes out like
what?
A week and a half after Diablo.
Womp womp.
What
and,
timeline am I in right now?
And Tears of the Kingdom is gonna hang on to me for quite a while longer as well.
Here you go, Locke. I got my title set.
Good to be a gamer.
We feasting.